Lucy.
Hello, Diana. How are you?
Good. I'm glad that you came on to give us a update with Nate. So how did the EFT work after we did a round, and then you continued with setups, with
Yes.
the short phrases, and you did full rounds too, didn't you, on Nate?
Yes. Um, he is doing really well. He's so much better that I'm surprised when we have a problem rather than same old, same old. So he's really doing beautifully. Um, I'll go kind of back through each of his issues. Growling when petted, when he's had enough of being petted. He has not growled at me about petting in weeks. And he solicits more petting as well than he used to. And actually, to my eye, seems to tolerate it longer. The main difference that I'm aware of is that you made me focus on paying attention to petting him, not just mindlessly scratching, but attentively petting. And so that's what I have been doing. And he really seems to enjoy it. And I love having him solicit attention. I feel like he loves me a little bit. Another big problem we were having was Nate growling at me at night. He sleeps in his bed and I sleep in mine, and I get up to go to the bathroom in the night. And when I return, I am greeted with growling. And we talked with him about that and did the tapping related to that. And it very seldom now does he growl when I come back, every now and then, but very seldom. And typically it's not a horribly ferocious growl, it's just a grumble. So there's been a distinct improvement. Most nights I don't hear a peep out of him when I come back into the room. Another issue again with Nate is this growling and his Cujo imitations. When he moved his bed around in the living room, he digs and he ruffles his fabric bolster beds, and he moves them from where they normally sit around the living room. And then he wakes up growling and snarling, I think because he is aware enough that he's not where he normally is, that it unnerves him because of his vision problems.
He's blind, correct?
He is completely blind, yeah. So he still moves his bed. But we've had very little of the waking up and growling and the startle growling. Occasionally that happens, but not nearly as often. And it seems, again, easier to ratchet it back instead of when we speak to him and say, hey, Nate, you're all right. Come on, wake up. Instead of more growling, we are now getting, oh, well, all right, whatever. He settles back down. So it's really great. He is doing really well. This is Seiko.
Oh, pretty.
He's a gorgeous boy.
Did I work with Seiko before?
You did. You worked with Seiko. In fact, you made me laugh when you worked with Seiko. Do you want me to remind you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Years ago, my sister and I took my Greyhounds to Gettysburg, and you were doing a workshop at Greyhounds in Gettysburg. And I took your workshop about communication, but you were also booking appointments. So my sister and I had moved in together, her 2 cats, my cat, and my 2 dogs.
Oh.
And the cats were not getting along. There had been knockdown, drag out, hair pulling fights. And that had settled a bit. And where we were was Seiko who you just saw again, picking on my cat Miles. He would stalk him and he would harass him and he would pick on him. And we were just trying to get, you don't have to love each other, but just quit the fighting. So we took pictures of the cats and brought them to the appointment and explained the situation to you. And you looked at Seiko's picture and you laughed and you said, oh, he's doing that for fun. And immediately I knew you were right. He was having a blast. You know, he had his brother that he could get along with, and he had Miles that he could pick on, and he was having fun.
Well, how did we get him? Did we get him to, I don't even remember.
Yes,
Did we get him
yes,
to stop?
you did. We talked to Seiko about, just please leave Miles alone.
And-
We talked to Miles about please stand up to Seiko, and he was pretty good about that. But what honestly seemed to help was to bring to Seiko's attention that his behavior was really unpleasant to everyone around him.
He needed to know that.
He needed to know that. And he did not stop completely. But when we got back from our trip, and in all the following years until Miles died, Seiko was about 75% better, which we took as a real win. We didn't have knockdown, drag out fights. There was far less of the stalking and sniping, noticeably less of the stalking and sniping. And it was a huge blessing to us. And that's one of the reasons that when I have a problem with my animals, I call you.
Well, thank you.
Because it worked so beautifully. And it lasted. And it was a situation that we really hadn't a clue how to approach. And this is the one who was having fun.
He's beautiful.
He is.
How old is he? About 10?
He is, we think he's 15.
Oh, 15.
He and his litter mate brother we think are both about 15.
Can we take a look at Nate?
Yes, he just wandered over. Here he is. Come on,
Hi,
sweetie.
Nate.
He says, hello. He's a good boy.
Ah, Nate. Last time in general, he just didn't really want to be bothered.
The sense that you got seemed to be that it disturbed him and he didn't like it.
He didn't like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's got his personality. He's very, he's very, he knows what he wants. He's very kind of set in his ways.
This was the dog whose father was named Definite Opinion.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So he's got that personality.
And when I was working with him, I remember now, I had gotten that from him when I described his personality. I said he has definite opinions.
Yeah.
And that's the name of his father.
It is the name of his father.
So he was a greyhound, a racing greyhound, but he didn't race because he was blind.
No, he was bred to race. His father was an Irish stakes winner, so he was hot stuff. But he never raced because he began to lose his eyesight to progressive retinal atrophy, which is a genetic disease. And he was pretty much blind by the time he could have raced. And so they sent him into the Greyhound retirement and adoption groups. So that's how I got him.
So they don't just euthanize them like
no. Greyhound adoption has gotten to be really common, and there's no good excuse for any breeder or racing kennel to euthanize dogs. There are adoption groups with open arms, ready to take them, and people like me eager to adopt them.
Okay, so thank you so much, and we'll see you later.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.